Hello everyone who are new and who are already on my channel. A very warm welcome. Here is a new lecture from the microeconomics which is related with the free market system, its efficiency and then the trade-off between efficiency and equity. So let us start with the connection between the free market and the efficiency concept. To find a connection between the efficiency and the free market system, let us revise some of the features of the free market system. In free market system, the decisions about the selection of the goods to produce and the decision about the allocation of resources to produce goods and services and the decisions about the distribution of the goods and services all are driven by the free forces of supply and demand. And further in this system, there is no room for the explanation about the well-being of the people living in that society. And further, we cannot say, or there is no explanation about the produced number of goods and services, whether they are enough, whether they are fairly distributed among different people in that society with different level of income. Free market system is not answering any of these questions, and so that's why we can say that free market system does not nothing to do with the welfare of people. It actually ignores the welfare of people, especially in terms of the equity or fair distribution of goods and services and the fair allocation of goods and fair allocation of resources. So here comes the role for the welfare economics, where we study that how we can allocate the resources that can actually affect the economic well-being of people, or economic welfare of people, or the economic benefit of the people. So the basic focus of this chapter is to study that how can we define the benefits or economic well-being or welfare of people as consumers or as a producer, and how different policies are actually can affect a change in the benefits or the welfare of consumers or producers. Now it's time to learn economic efficiency concept. Economic efficiency by definition exists when no change could be made to benefit one party without harming the other party. Okay, so for example, if we consider the efficiency in the market, then you know that in the market there are two main actors, consumers and sellers. So we can say that the market is working efficiently if the exchange between seller and consumer takes place at the point where both quantity demanded by the buyer is equals to the quantity supplied by the seller. Or we can say that the value which buyer puts on purchase of that good must be equals to the marginal cost or the reservation price of the seller. So in other words, we can say that there is efficiency in the market if marginal benefits are equals to, if the exchange take place at that point where marginal benefits are equals to the marginal cost, or in other words, the buyer's reservation price is equals to the seller's reservation price. You are familiar with these two concepts of buyer's reservation price and seller's reservation price. You know that buyer's reservation price is denoted by the marginal benefit, while the seller's reservation price is denoted by the marginal cost. And buyer's reservation price is actually the maximum price at which buyer is willing to buy, while marginal cost or seller's reservation price is the minimum price at which seller is ready to sell. So if the transaction or exchange of good takes place at the point where both marginal benefits are equals to the marginal cost, then we can say that there exists the market efficiency, and we can say that this market is working efficiently. In other words, we can also denote this type of efficiency as the Pareto efficiency. Pareto efficiency. So here, no seller can take a benefit without harming the buyer's benefit. Okay, so it will be more clear when we move on the other slides. Let me erase all this, and then to understand economic efficiency by applying the efficiency condition, and also by using the diagram, let us consider first the demand curve. And there is now you are going to learn a new interpretation of the demand curve. Up till now you just have learned that a demand curve gives you information about the prices and the quantity demanded on that price. So basically what you have learned that how different quantities are demanded at different prices, right? But now you are going to connect the quantity demanded with the reservation price, buyer's reservation price, and also the marginal benefit. Why? Buyer's reservation price is basically the maximum price at which buyer is willing to pay in order to buy a good, a unit of good, while the marginal benefit is just the gives the same information, that the marginal benefit is actually the benefit or the value which the buyer is putting on the purchase of that good. For example, how much benefits the buyer is going to get by buying an additional unit of good. So both buyer's reservation price and marginal benefits of buyer is actually the same. They are synonyms. So each point on the demand curve is actually giving you information about the marginal benefit and the respective quantity demanded, right? That how much marginal benefit the buyer is going to get if, for example, he is consuming, let us say, Q1, and how much benefits he is going to get when he is consuming Q2, and so on. So each quantity, for example, if quantity is Q1, then for that quantity, to purchase that quantity, the maximum price the buyer is willing to pay is, let us say that it is equals to P1, let us suppose, and P1 is also giving you the information about the marginal benefits. Let us say that it is B1, MB1. In the same way, in order to purchase the next quantity or next unit, which is Q2, the buyer is willing to pay MB2, which is lower than the previous marginal benefits, or maybe it can be denoted by P2. So in a very simple way, you should understand here that we can denote the demand curve as the marginal benefit curve for the consumer. So it is equivalent. When you have a demand curve, it means that you also have the information on the marginal benefit or the maximum price at which buyer is willing to pay, or buyer is willing to purchase a certain amount of good. So I hope that you have understood the connection between these three terms: buyer's reservation price, is equivalent to the margin, the benefit which buyer is going to get by purchasing that unit, which is the marginal benefits. So buyer's reservation price, marginal benefits, and the price of the good, they all are same. Now it's time to understand the concept of the supply curve and its relation with the seller's minimum reservation price. You know that a market is producing efficiently when marginal benefits are equals to marginal cost. Marginal cost shows the seller's reservation price, or the minimum price at which seller is ready to sell. Sellers are always ready to supply more and more at the if the price is higher. Why? Because the cost of producing more good is going to be higher. That's why the marginal cost is also going to be higher. So if that's why we can say that there is a positive connection between prices and the quantity supply, and if we draw the supply curve, it is always going to be the positively sloped curve. And this slope here in this diagram, you can see that this slope, this supply curve is starting somewhere on the price axis. It is not starting from zero, which means that it is not starting from zero. Why? Because sellers are not ready to supply any amount of the good when the price is equals to zero. So that's why the price, the minimum price where sellers are ready to supply, and it is equals to the marginal cost, the cost of providing or supplying another unit. So all the points on the supply curve are not only giving you the information about the prices, but they are also giving you information about the marginal cost of the seller. So it is equivalent to say that supply curve is giving us the marginal cost, information on the quantity, and also the marginal cost of supplying that particular quantity. Okay, so and that marginal cost is actually showing the minimum prices, or the minimum cost at which seller is ready to supply any particular quantity or any particular amount of good. Okay, so different quantities have different marginal cost. Higher quantities are related with the higher marginal cost. That's why we can see that higher quantities are related with the higher marginal cost, or higher prices, higher minimum prices at which seller is ready to supply. Now it's time to consider both actors of the market, which are suppliers and buyers, in order to understand the concept of the economic efficiency. D is the demand curve, which also synonym to the marginal benefit, and S is the supply curve for a good, and it is equivalent to the marginal cost for a supplier to produce an additional unit. And the point where which satisfy this condition of equilibrium is actually defining the efficient point for that market. And yes, this is the point where both marginal cost for seller and marginal benefits to the buyer, they are equal, and the output level in that case is going to be Q2. So this is actually the output level for which both buyers and sellers, they are happy to exchange. But if any other level of output will not give you the efficient level of output, for example, if the output level is lower than Q2, right? Let us say that it is Q1. Then to produce Q1 for that level of output, what is the marginal cost for seller to produce that level of output? It is equals to it can be determined by moving from Q1 to the marginal cost curve or supply curve. It is equals to, let us say, P naught, right? So this is the marginal cost. So marginal cost is equals to P naught, while the marginal benefits, for that you have to move on the demand curve for marginal to determine the marginal benefit, and it is equals to, let us say that marginal benefits are here. Okay, so this is the marginal benefits, or we can say that it is denoted by P3. So here you can see that marginal benefits to produce Q1 or to exchange Q1 quantity. Here the marginal benefits to the marginal benefits are greater than the marginal cost. Okay. So whenever the marginal benefits are higher, then it is always profitable for the producers to increase their level of output. Okay, on the other hand, let us suppose that if Q3 is the level of output which is going to produce, then in that case what will happen to the marginal cost and marginal benefit equality? For that, let us see. For marginal benefits, we have to move on the demand curve, and then it will gives you the marginal benefits. And for marginal cost to produce Q2, we will have to move on the supply curve or marginal cost curve, and it will gives you the marginal cost. So here you can see that marginal cost to produce Q3 is greater than the marginal benefit. So it means that sellers, they are unhappy to produce that level of output, because to produce that level of output their marginal cost is higher. So we can say that both buyers and sellers their level of benefit is going to vary as the price is either higher or lower than the equilibrium price, or the quantity or level of output is higher or lower than the level of output. The only efficient point where both buyers and sellers, they are happy and the marginal cost to produce an additional unit is equals to the marginal benefits to purchase another unit, they both are equal at the point where both quantity demanded are equals to the quantity supplied. So I hope that you have understood this concept, and this is actually the point where the market is actually having the efficient level of output, and any other level of output will show that either benefits are higher for the buyers, or the cost is higher for the seller, and which showing an inefficient outcome for this market. Whenever we are dealing with the concept of the efficiency, we always come across with the trade-off between efficiency and equity. Efficiency, if a society decided to produce at the efficient level, then it has to compromise on the equity. Where equity is actually the fair distribution of goods and services among the people in a society. So if economy decided to prefer equity over efficiency, then it means that the economy is basically intervening in the market functioning of the market by imposition of some of its policies in form of price ceiling, price floor, or in form of imposition of taxes, so that it can take, for example, through taxes it actually tries to take income from the rich people and distribute to the where it uses that money on the welfare of the people. But in that case, there are some consequences for equity also, that come in form of you can say less incentive for rich people to work hard, because there are less incentive for them to earn more, because they know that they are going to, if they earn more, they have to pay higher taxes. So there is always a trade-off, or a kind of compromise between efficiency and equity, where a society needs to decide whether it should prefer the efficiency, or it should prefer the equity. And there is always a trade-off between efficiency and equity. If you like this video, then please thumbs up, and if you further wants to see more videos on different topics, then please comment in the comment section below the video. Thank you.